Welcome to tonight's game show, the WWE Tournament. Tonight we will see whether our contestants can fight our reigning champion coronavirus, or as we like to call him, Ronnie. Our friend Ronnie here is an enveloped virus, has an RNA genome, and his beautiful, well-trimmed glycoprotein haircut, also known as his spike proteins, which allow him to attach to his favourite site in the body, the small intestines of our cats. Ronnie just loves to grab onto the mature enterocytes at the tips of the villi and replicate his heart away. Of course, this creates an issue for our feline friends as he damages the cells and ultimately causes absorption issues in the gut, leading to osmotic diarrhea. Ronnie does have his evil alter ego Ronald that sometimes comes out when our cats are younger and there's more of himself around to mutate. We don't really like Ronald, but we'll talk about him later. Speaking of our cats, let's meet our contestants for tonight. First up against Ronnie, we'll have to introduce them together because they're roommates. We have Healthy Harold and Enteric Edward. Let's rewind for a moment. Healthy Harold and Enteric Edward have been besties since birth, and because of this they love sharing their litter box. Harold loves the great outdoors and Edward on the other hand loves sleeping inside. So one day our friend Harold decided to go outside, and this is where Ronnie, playing in some cat poo, saw him walking by and decided to hitch a ride. Ronnie was smart and went right inside of Harold's mouth when he was grooming himself and started making his way down the GIT like it was a roller coaster. But our friend Harold is strong, and even though Ronnie was inside him the whole time, he remained asymptomatic and continued on with his day and took a dump in the litter tray, leaving Ronnie there. Better luck next time, Ronnie. After toilet time for Harold, Edward was feeling a little bit left out and also went into the litter box to see what was going on. After seeing nothing interesting, he went back out and groomed himself. Ronnie did the exact same thing and went inside Edward's mouth and down his GIT. What we haven't mentioned about Edward is that he is a little bit immunocompromised, so Ronnie did his thing this time. He made a mess of Edward's gastrointestinal tract. Edward got diarrhea and a bit of an upset stomach a few days later. And this is why we call him Enteric Edward, because Edward got enteritis. However, Edward's immune system was eventually able to stop Ronnie's chaos and Edward returned to normal despite still shedding Ronnie in his poop. And last up against Ronnie we have peritonitis Paul. Paul's backstory here is he's a young cat in a new home. He came from questionable backgrounds. Ronnie has been hanging out with Paul all his life. Now we will introduce Ronnie's alter ego, Ronald. Ronald is stronger and more aggressive than Ronnie. He has mutated DNA that makes him like macrophages instead of enterocytes. Inside Paul, Ronald no longer has an interest in the enterocytes in the intestinal tract and rather decides to dive further down where he can find macrophages, and specifically those that he can find in the lining of the blood vessels around his lungs, abdominal organs, brain and eyes. Ronald causes major damage inside Paul when he takes over the macrophages. He makes them call in cytokines, he causes granulomatous inflammation, he creates an effusion, meaning Paul has a very big belly, and a pyogranulatomatous inflammation, where the neutrophils are called in but don't really help at all. And he has general signs of fever, anorexia, and weight loss. It's not looking too good for peritonitis Paul, and it seems like this match is over. Ronald has won. Vets on scene assess Paul by analysing his abdominal fluid and trying to find the virus here by doing direct immunofluorescence, testing for virally infected macrophages. They have diagnosed Paul with wet feline infectious peritonitis. And that concludes our WWE 2023, but we have hope for our cats next year as a new antiviral has been developed and shown to treat those cats with FIP.